Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this video is all about my second track day on Fireblade. I'll talk about that in a second, but just before that I got to thank Tyre Streets. They've supplied me with a couple of t-shirts and a couple of caps. I'm not really sure if I can pull off a cap. I might be able to now, I've got a bit of long hair. But yeah, Tyre Streets, they're sponsoring me on my drift car with the Accelera 651s. You still get a 15% off if you go on to tyrestreets.com. I'll add that in the description. If you put in Dan15 at checkout, so they're already pretty good value for money anyway. Delivery is normally pretty fast, so yeah. Thank you very much, Tyre Streets. Go get yourself some, try them out, let me know what you think. Back onto the bike. So yeah, took the Fireblade up to Cadwell Park. We got up there the night before, pouring down with rain. Si I went up with in his van. Thanks so much, Si, for letting me come up with you. I got there in quite a good time, didn't have too much traffic. It is about 290 something miles away. So we did a bit of a track walk on the night before, so just from each corner, but the trouble was there was so much mist. We went to track Monday morning, got there good time, got the pop-up gazebos out, you know, got the bikes out of the van, got the warmers on. First time I ever used tyre warmers. It's only my second track day on the bike anyway. It's slightly different to the in-offer day, more an instructional day, whereas Cadwell Park was a no limits day. You had to do due to the COVID, you still had to do an online briefing. Anyway, so we've done that. There was an announcement over the tannoy saying we're going to be a bit delayed to start the track. Basically, it pushed it back by about 20 minutes, I think. I think in the end, the fast group started about 9:20 instead of 9. So you get 4 morning sessions and then 3 in the afternoon. Whereas at the in-law for Pembury Day, we only got 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. So you do get an extra session out on track with the no limits, providing there's enough time in the day. It's one which they did exactly the same as they did at the in-law for Day, where they did 2 laps under yellow flags, no overtaking, come back in the pit so you knew where the pit exit was. Then they sent us out again. But like I said, because they compressed the times down, I think I got maybe 3 or 4 laps then after the 2 sighting laps out actually on track. Was just literally taking in the track and still, you know, properly learning the bike, because it's only the second time I've ever ridden this bike. I find the only thing I'd changed since the first track day at Pembury was I drained a little bit of oil out of the forks. Anyway, yeah, so done that. Come back in, it was still very damp on track, just like Pembury, but wetter. It was real wet, to be honest. Actually, I think about 50% of the people there all had full wets on. So I went out on the same road tyres I went out with at Pembury, which are just some Bridgestone S20s. They're nothing special. I did that, it felt all right. Then I went to go out and do a second session, and some of the coolant just blew out the expansion pipe and dripped on the floor. But I didn't notice at the time. So as it's dripping down, the guy next to me on a Gixxer 600 or something like that pointed at me. I might have it on camera actually, have a look.
Hey mate, not bike.
So I pulled in. By the time I got back in the pits, I thought maybe I'd rubbed through a pipe the last time when I fell off at Pembury, because I hadn't actually took the fairings off again since, because I carried on the whole day at Pembury and it seemed fine after my little off. And took the fairings off, checked all the pipes and everything, they all seemed fine, and it just seemed like, yeah, the radiator had burped out, I don't know, an egg cup full or a couple of cups full worth of coolant into the overflow, which then pushed it out of the overflow, down and out the overflow pipe, and I could see the overflow pipe was wet, so I thought, right, alright, I'll just top it back up again. I ran it back up, the fan kicked in fine, it stayed alright, so I don't really know what happened there, but anyway, so I missed the second session. Went out for the third session. I was a bit nervous now because obviously I've missed out on the second one, and to be fair, the level of riding at this day was a lot faster. Like when I was at the Ian Lawford Day at Pembury, I felt like I was sort of middle pack of speed in a novice, you know. I was definitely people slower than me, there was definitely people faster than me, but I didn't feel sort of out of my depth, whereas I was getting overtaken left, right and centre, like just everywhere pretty much. I mean, I was overtaking the odd bike, but I'd probably overtake 1 or 2 and then get overtaken by another 5, 6. But they're a lot bigger groups, so it probably was probably 30 at the beginning of the day. Probably 30 bikes went out on track. A few times where we catch up with a slower bike, someone that's going slower than me, and then it would sort of create a bit of a rolling roadblock, because you catch up with that person. I found if they were slower, generally it'd be at the corners, so everyone would sort of gun it down the straight, and then you get to the corner and some people were very, very slow at the corner, and then you would catch right up with them, but then 2 or 3 other people would catch up with you, and you ended up with a bit of a then I should have probably, I didn't think about it at the time because you're just concentrating on going around, but I probably should have just pulled in the pit, let that little bundle of bikes go and then rejoin again. Anyway, so then I was trying to really concentrate on getting my body off of the bike. When you come to the first corner, you'd let off a little bit at the end of the straight, you'd get that corner and then you'd do a, you know, right, left, right, and they felt that that first left-hand corner, which it was a very slippery area, and I did have a little whoopsie, I'll show you that later as well, on that corner, but it felt, I could get over quite a lot. I think I was overdoing it because I'll show you a bit of footage now of that, probably one of the laps from that session, and you can see ideally, anyone watching this, if you're good at track days or you've done a lot, just literally comment and tell me what you think or whatever. It doesn't matter how harsh it is. If I'm doing something wrong, I just want to know really, because I felt like I was leaning off the bike more, but I didn't feel like the bike was as planted. Trying too hard to lean off the bike, and then on the fourth session of the day, so the last session before lunch, my third, I was still doing the same, and I went around and I must have done 3/4 of the session, and I felt like I was really leaning off the bike way more than I was last time, and I was going through the first two bends, kept I felt like I could see where the cone markers were, I felt like I was following the line good, but then I come round and it's just started spitting with a bit of rain. I don't know if that's what it was or whether it was something to do with my body position, but I come round again and did the corner, I thought, exactly the same as I'd done it for the past 4 or 5 laps. Went to lean over the left-hand corner, got quite far off, and then I've watched the video back probably 2 or 3 times. I've tried to slow it down, and the only 2 things I can tell, either my peg, like the gear shifter here, or the peg or something on this side, catches the floor, which I really don't think I was that far lent over, or the back wheel sort of comes out, which then drops the front. But I don't think that either really, because I've had the back wheel squirm around on all sorts of bikes, and normally even when the back goes up, you feel that before. It just felt like it was like I just hit a patch of oil or some leaves, that the bike it didn't drop out for me like at Pembury, where the front, I'm pretty sure after watching the Pembury video back, I was still on the brakes, and the front, I was braking and sort of trying to go around the corner, and the front let go and it hit the, bang, but the back felt fine. This time I leant off the bike, was quite off, and the whole bike it's just like I lost grip. It was like there was no grip on the side of the tyre there, just flew off. So I'll put that in now, I'll show the whole lap, and then if you watch it to the end, you'll see I actually come off at those first two bends. Anyway, I come off. Luckily, I think because it was a bit wet, I did a little bit of a slip and slide. The bike did less damage than last time I come off. It just literally caught this bar end, which I've gaffer taped up. I'm a bit of an expert at gaffer taping bar ends. If anyone needs that, happening. It caught the end of this bar end as well. Lightly caught the fairing here and just here, but I've just taped it up and cable tied it. And to be honest, if you look from 10 feet away, obviously you can see it's all scuffed, but the other side was already scuffed from Pembury, so I'm literally not bothered. The main thing was that I could get back out and use it again. But I was just a bit put off then because I thought, obviously I then got the bike back together, made sure it was all alright, checked everything was tight and that, all the clip on and that, which all seemed fine. Because luckily it slid along the grass quite a bit, and I mean my rear sprocket, a photo of the grass I pulled off, but yeah, it just slid along. I was a bit annoyed there. I was a bit annoyed with myself and I was a bit confused because I felt like I was doing the same thing that I'd done every other lap and it was fine, yet this lap it wasn't. So I then went out on the 5th, this is after lunch, then I went out and done the 5th, 6th and 7th session, which was my 4th, 5th and 6th session. I didn't lean off as much because I was worried that maybe when I was leaning off the bike that I was maybe like going from one side to the other, I was maybe unweighting the bike, or how I've watched other people go around and go from the right side to the left side. You sort of do like, you do like a squat. You start this side and you sort of come up and then drop back down again. I felt that maybe I was doing something wrong in that area. So then the next 3 sessions, I basically just didn't lean off as much. I sort of went around and I just concentrated on just the line. I thought, right, I'm not gonna, I don't want to keep falling off. It's not ideal. I was very lucky both times now, last time and this time. Let's just go round. And so I went round at a similar pace-ish still, I think, but I just did not lean off quite as much, and I did feel more stable on the bike. But when you watch, I'll put another clip of another couple laps in now from those sessions, and I am leaning off a bit, but I'm nowhere near getting off as much as I was earlier in the day or in the one where I crashed, but I felt more stable. So I'm not sure whether it's just something in my head, maybe because I've been riding road bikes for, well, since I was 16, so 12 years. And other than my moped, which I slipped off on when I was 16 years old, and when I go laning, which is inevitable, if anyone ever goes laning, you always end up in a bit of mud. But on the road, I've never fell off a road bike. I've had 5, 6 different road bikes. I've never felt in a position where I've had the back squirm around a bit, changing down the gear a bit quick, but I've never had the front want to come out or the whole bike feel like it wants to drop out underneath me. I will say though that I probably don't really ride that often in the wet, and it was still damp. So maybe I should have thought in my head, right, it's still wet, I need to take it a bit steadier. But I was following other people and they were going the same pace. I think that's what it was. In my head, I was thinking, well, I can see these other guys are going around at this pace. They're all leaning off and they're fine. So why can I not do that? But yeah, I'll put a bit of a lap on now of what I did afterwards. And to be fair, by the very last session of the day, even though I wasn't leaning off quite as much, I was concentrating a lot more on the line, and I felt like I had a better line. And if I was leaning off more and just on the throttle earlier out of corners, I probably would have got quicker and quicker. But I didn't want to after falling off, and obviously it's not a very good statistic at the moment. I've done 2 bike track days and I've come off twice, so it's a little bit embarrassing. But at the same time, I want to learn and I want to get quicker. I'd like to get some tuition next year. Whether I do another bike track this year or not, I'm not sure, and just see what the deal is. Is it because when I'm leaning it over, am I doing something wrong, or is it simply those tyres are crap? I'll probably go to set as super courses next. I think that's what most people seem to, that's a good for the price and for how long they last, especially for my speed at the moment. That'll be more enough. I don't want to go to slicks because I just don't think I'll keep them warm enough yet. Not at my speed. So yeah, I might try a set of them next, and that might change it completely. I might stick the other tyres on, go around the track and think, bloody hell, I wish I'd done this before. Which if it is the case, then I've learnt a lesson there that I shouldn't have used those tyres. But the bike does feel fun when you're riding it around. It doesn't feel like it's all squirmy in general. It feels fine. It just seems to be when I lean over at a corner with my weight. I don't know whether when I'm leaning off the bike, like I'm leaning too far out and I'm sort of taking weight off the front. I'm not really. A lot of people say that you shouldn't have much weight on your hands anyway when you lean over. Your right leg, if it's a left-hand corner, your right leg's on the tank. I do need some grips actually. That is something I did notice, and a few people said I need to get some sort of tank grips to help. But yeah, I just felt like when I was doing that, you know, whether I was too far away from the bars doing that. I just felt like I didn't have any weight on the front of the bike. But yeah, that's just something I need to look into. I'd love anyone who's going to watch this, if you've got this far and you've looked through, watched my video, you know, how I've gone round, any advice, you tell me if you think it, you know, if you think, yeah, Dan, definitely 100% those tyres are crap. All right, you know, I'll take that, or whatever. I just want to know, or what anyone else's experience of what they think, and yeah, go from there really. But anyways, yeah, my main aim now is to get back out there, use the drift car. I really want to try the 651s. Excited to use the semi-slicks. I've still not used them yet. They've been on the car for like 6 months because I was literally getting ready to use them, and then we had the lockdown. So one thing or another, the odd few practice days that I've been going have either overlapped something else I've organised, or it hasn't worked out. Anyone who wants to watch me who's local, like I said, I'm 99% sure I'll be doing the BHP show at Exeter. I'm really hoping to with the Drift Outlaws guys. I'm hoping to do whatever rounds are left of the RDC, which at the moment it could be 2. It's looking very much like 1 round. That's it for now. Thanks for watching if you managed to make it this far, and please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.